What if the ride you thought would take you safely home turned into your worst nightmare? Uber has become a part of our everyday lives, convenient, quick, and seemingly safe. But behind the screen of that familiar app, some passengers have lived through moments that sound more like scenes from a horror movie than a car ride. Dive into 5 terrifying true Uber horror stories that will make you think twice the next time you call a ride. Story 1. The GPS that led to nowhere. She had done it 100 times before. A Friday night out with friends, the usual laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the warm buzz of a few too many drinks. By the time she tapped open her Uber app, the familiar sense of relief washed over her. Finally, a safe ride home. The car pulled up within minutes. A black sedan, headlights cutting through the quiet Los Angeles street. She checked the app make, model, license plate all matched. Perfect. She slid into the back seat, thanked the driver, and settled in. The night air was cool, the hum of the tires against the pavement soothing. For the first few blocks, everything felt normal. The driver was silent, eyes fixed on the road, the GPS softly dictating directions. But then, something shifted. She noticed the car wasn't following the highlighted route on her phone. Instead of heading toward the freeway, he took an unexpected left turn. At first, she brushed it off. Maybe he knew a shortcut. Maybe traffic was bad. But after the third turn that veered farther from the blue line on her map, unease began to settle in her stomach. Her voice wavered as she asked, "Isn't the GPS telling you to go the other way?" The driver didn't respond, didn't even glance at her. He just kept driving. The neighborhood grew quieter. Streetlights became fewer. Houses gave way to shadows. And then, the smell of dust and asphalt hit her nose. They were approaching a construction site. Her heart pounded. Her phone shook in her hand as she discreetly opened the dialer. 911. She pressed call, holding it to her ear as quietly as she could, whispering, "I think my Uber driver is trying to take me somewhere. Please help." The operator told her to stay calm, to keep the line open, to stay on the call. The car slowed down, crunching gravel under its tires. The construction site loomed around them, half-built structures, empty equipment, and eerie silence. There was no reason to be here. No reason at all. Her palms were slick with sweat. She thought about opening the door, but what if it was locked? What if he grabbed her before she could run? Just then, red and blue lights flashed in the distance. Sirens cut through the night air. The driver froze. He cursed under his breath, slamming the wheel before trying to speed off, but it was too late. Police cruisers blocked the road, surrounding the car. Officers yanked the driver out within seconds. She stumbled out of the back seat, legs trembling, tears streaming down her face. The nightmare was over. Later, she would learn the man was arrested on suspicion of attempted kidnapping. He had no criminal record linked to Uber. No warnings, no reports. To the app, he was just another driver. To her, he was almost the last face she'd ever see. And the scariest part, if she hadn't quietly made that call, if police hadn't tracked her phone's location in time, her story might have ended differently. So here's the question. Would you notice if your Uber wasn't following the GPS? Or would you trust the driver until it was too late? Story 2. The fake Uber driver. It was past midnight in Chicago, and the streets buzzed with the chaotic mix of Friday night energy bars spilling out. Laughter echoing down alleys, taxis honking in the distance. a college student, slightly tipsy and eager to get back to her dorm, opened her Uber app and requested a ride. Within minutes, a car pulled up. A clean black sedan, hazard lights blinking. The driver leaned over, smiled, and called her name. She nodded, relieved, and slid into the back seat. But what she didn't realize was that this wasn't her ride at all. At first, nothing seemed wrong. He made small talk, asked if she'd had a good night. She laughed nervously, fiddling with her phone. Then she noticed something: the map on her app wasn't moving. The ride hadn't even started. "Aren't you going to start the trip?" she asked. Silence. The driver just kept circling blocks, taking unfamiliar turns. Then she heard it, the soft click of the locks. The doors had sealed. Panic swelled in her chest. She tried to stay calm, thinking fast. Then it hit her. She had to make him think she wasn't alone. So she lifted her phone, pressed it to her ear, and began speaking loudly. "Hey. Yeah, I'm in the Uber now. Almost there. Police station, right? Yeah, I'll be there in 10 minutes. The driver's knuckles tightened around the wheel. His eyes flicked to the mirror, darting nervously. And then, without warning, he pulled over, unlocked the doors, and ordered her to get out. She stumbled onto the sidewalk, heart pounding, watching as the car sped away into the night. When she reported it, investigators confirmed what she already suspected. It wasn't her Uber. It was a predator, stalking drunk students outside bars, posing as their driver. That incident and others like it led Uber to add new safety features: PIN codes, license plate verification, reminders to always check your ride. But here's the thing: how many of us actually do? How many of us are too distracted, too tired, or too trusting? Would you? Story 3. The driver who snapped it started like every other ride. A quiet pickup. A calm driver. A destination entered. A young woman slid into her Uber after work, exhausted, grateful for the ride home. For the first 10 minutes, the driver was completely normal, focused, professional, silent. And then something shifted. Out of nowhere, he began to mutter under his breath, his voice low, broken, like he was arguing with someone who wasn't there. She glanced up from her phone, uneasy. The muttering grew louder, words spilling into the air, angry, incoherent rants. She couldn't make out most of it, just fragments. "They're watching me. Don't tell me what to do." His grip on the steering wheel tightened, knuckles bone-white. Her pulse quickened. She tried to stay calm. Maybe he was on the phone. But no, there was no headset, no earpiece, just him and his demons. Then, with no warning, he pulled over in the middle of a deserted road. He flung the door open, stepped out, and began screaming. Not at her, not at anyone visibly, just into the night. His body shook, arms flailing, as if fighting off ghosts only he could see. She sat frozen in the back seat, heart hammering. What should she do? Run? Stay? If she got out, would he chase her? If she stayed, would he come back angrier? Seconds felt like hours. Finally, instinct took over. She slid across the seat, shoved the opposite door open, and bolted. Her shoes pounded against the pavement as she sprinted toward the faint glow of headlights down the road. A passing driver slowed, saw her terror, and pulled over. She leaped in without hesitation. Behind her, the Uber driver stood in the road, screaming at shadows. Later, she would learn he had a documented history of mental health issues. Somehow, he'd passed Uber's background checks. Somehow, he'd been allowed behind the wheel. And it makes you wonder, how much do we really know about the people driving us? How many are ticking time bombs, waiting to snap? Story 4. The Drunk Driver, New York City. Late at night, a man orders an Uber to get home after a long shift at work. The car pulls up, and he's too tired to notice the subtle red flags the way the driver fumbles with his phone. The smell of alcohol faint in the air. The ride starts smoothly enough, but within minutes, reality crashes in. The driver slurs his words when he asks about the route. His hands grip the wheel loosely, and the car, it swerves. Hard at first, the passenger tries to brush it off. Maybe he's just tired, but then the car speeds recklessly, nearly clipping another vehicle. The passenger's stomach drops. "Hey, can you please slow down?" He pleads. The driver ignores him. Another swerve. A red light blown through. The man realizes with horror he's trapped in the back of a car with a drunk driver, and the doors won't unlock while in motion. His heart races. He has to get out. He begs the driver to stop, but the man just laughs it off. Finally, salvation. A red light. Without thinking, the passenger yanks the handle, pushes the door open, and tumbles out onto the street. His knees scrape against the asphalt, but he doesn't care. He scrambles to safety as the Uber speeds off, disappearing into the night. Uber later banned the driver, but the passenger, he never forgot the terror of those moments. The helplessness. The realization that he was just one wrong turn away from not making it home. And it begs the question, how many drunk drivers are out there, slipping through the cracks, carrying passengers who may never even realize the danger until it's too late? Story 5. The Locked Doors, Florida. A warm evening. A woman orders an Uber after visiting friends. She's tired, ready to be home, grateful when her driver arrives quickly. At first, the ride feels normal. Music hums softly through the speakers. The driver makes polite small talk. But then, slowly, she notices something strange. He misses the turn for her street. Then another. Her voice is calm at first. "Oh, I think you went the wrong way." But he doesn't answer. His eyes stay locked on the road. She leans forward, nervous. "Can you please turn around? My house is back that way." Still nothing. Instead, he takes another turn, this time into a quieter neighborhood, one she doesn't recognize. Her hand trembles as she reaches for the door handle. She pulls. Locked. That's when her blood runs. Cold. Click. The sound of the central lock echoes through the car. Her breathing quickens. She pulls out her phone, frantically texting a friend. "This isn't my route. I don't know where he's taking me." She quickly uses Uber's Share My Trip feature, sending her live location. Her friend calls the police instantly. Meanwhile, the driver continues, silent, taking turn after turn until they stop in front of a small, unfamiliar house. Terror grips her. She presses her back against the seat, heart pounding, fingers ready to dial 911 if he makes a move. But before he can open his door, flashing lights cut through the darkness. Police swarm the car. The driver is dragged out, handcuffed. She is pulled to safety, shaking violently. Later, she learns the man had planned to take her into the house. His intentions remain chillingly unclear. For 30 minutes, she lived a nightmare. For 30 minutes, she was trapped. And, if not for that Share My Trip feature, the story could have ended in unthinkable tragedy. 5 stories, 5 passengers, 5 rides that began like any other and ended in terror. These aren't ghost stories. They aren't urban legends. They happened, and they could happen again. The next time you step into a rideshare, ask yourself, do you check the license plate? Do you sit in the back seat? Do you share your trip with someone you trust? Because the truth is, you never really know who's behind the wheel. If this video left you thinking twice, hit that like button, subscribe for more chilling true stories, and check the description for more horror deep dives, and above all, stay safe out there.